Peeps, we are back and we are here today to talk about DC Fandome, the 24-hour global event put on by DC Comics and Warner Brothers, announcing new movies, video games, comic books, and more. Well, first up, because it's the first ever DC Fandome, and we are such huge fans of DC Comics and the DC superheroes, we figure we gotta celebrate with some themed foods for the day. So we're at O'Doodle Doo's Donuts in Suffolk, Virginia to get some custom DC superhero donuts. Let's take a look. Okay, I've got the shirt, I've got the kicks, we've got the donuts, and we've got some burgers, but we're not just gonna do regular burgers. We've got some Batman, Superman burgers coming. Got the burgers, let's see. Batman should fit just right, so let's see. A little bit of hamburger seasoning. We got some Batman Superman burgers ready to go on the grill. Because I want to watch Fandome on the big screen, I'm doing some screen mirroring from my iPad to my big screen TV so that I can watch all the trailers and all the panels right here on the big screen. And I just wanted to test it with a video to see how it looked. Okay, so I've had a night to think about all the stuff that I watched yesterday on DC Fandome. First off, DC Fandome in general, I thought was a fantastic event. So I started it, I'm on the East Coast, I started it at 1 p.m. Eastern and watched almost the entire thing until 9 p.m. Eastern. I mean, I took breaks in between, things like that, didn't panels I wasn't necessarily interested in, but there were no streaming problems. I thought there might be streaming problems with everyone focused on the same site. I was able to stream it to my television. I really enjoyed it. Great content, well produced. Obviously, most of it was pre-recorded, but they did a really good job about interacting with the fans, showing new content, no real technical issues to speak of. They had the Chris Daughtry concert, performance, which I thought was fun. You know, it was, you could see he's clearly a fan, but it broke up the monotony of just talking heads by actually having some music in there. Some great cosplay videos, just a really fun day for fans of DC, like clearly I am. The first major panel was Wonder Woman 1984. And what was funny to me about that panel was that in theory, Wonder Woman 1984 should already be out in theaters, should probably not even be in theaters anymore, because it was supposed to come out earlier this year, but because of the global pandemic has been delayed. So it was interesting to me to have a new trailer after the film was originally planned to be released. However, what I'll say about that trailer is it was probably my favorite Wonder Woman 1984 trailer. I thought it was better than the previous trailers. I enjoyed seeing the cast talking about it before the trailer, and I enjoyed the first look at Cheetah as she appears in the movie. So, as someone who was kind of on the fence about Wonder Woman 84, now I'm actually looking forward to it. I was really looking forward to the WB Games Montreal secret announcement. And I will say, I was pleasantly surprised. I knew the game would be called Gotham Knights. I knew there was going to be something involving the Court of Owls, which I'm a big fan of from the comic books. What I was not expecting was that it would be set in this world where Batman is dead and Red Hood, Batgirl, Robin, and Nightwing need to take over as the vigilantes of Gotham City. And that it seems, it wasn't really announced during the panel, but clearly it's a multiplayer game. Probably online, co-op multiplayer, so that you can play as different members of the Bat family. The game footage they showed was beautiful, and it was alpha gameplay. But they showed a Mr. Freeze level that I thought the graphics were absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed the trailer. I liked the setup of it. I think I like the aesthetic of it, like the neon light kind of thing. Gotham Knights, I will say, genuinely impressed. Looking forward to that game coming out in 2021 for WB Games. The Flash panel featuring Ezra Miller and Andy Muschietti, the director of Stephen King's It. There wasn't much shown. Obviously, that has had a long delayed production. I will say I was actually surprised, though, that they didn't feature a surprise appearance by Ben Affleck. I think part of it was that it was filmed prior to Ben Affleck agreeing to be in the movie. But we got a little bit of concept art. We got to see that the Flash has a new costume. They did mention that Batman made that costume for him. So, when the Flash gets into production, I'm looking forward to seeing more footage from it, because right now it just kind of seems that maybe there's not much to really show. But the little bit that they showed of the director and actors was kind of fun. Next up, we had the first footage and reveal of the entire cast of James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. Now, the Suicide Squad does appear to be a sequel to the previous Suicide Squad movie. It features Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, and a couple of actors who were in the prior Suicide Squad movie. It looks like it has a huge cast, lots of surprises. They showed a pretty lengthy behind-the-scenes footage sequence of the movie, and showed that they're very much inspired by like a 70s war movie, and the aesthetic of that. So Suicide Squad, I'm not the biggest Suicide Squad fan, just as a concept in general. And there were actually two announcements related to the Suicide Squad. One was the movie, and the next one that we're going to talk about is the game. And I will say, I'm excited because it's James Gunn. I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's got a good cast. We'll see what they do with it. Now, speaking of the Suicide Squad game, Rocksteady announced Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League with a trailer. And I will say this was a panel that I was looking forward to. One of the panels I was looking most forward to. And the trailer kind of left me cold. And the trailer kind of, it's there were a little bit of gameplay, but mostly just cinematic. Showed the main cast of characters. It's a co-op video game featuring Harley Quinn, King Shark, Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang, who they call Boomer. I will say that, from a trailer standpoint, one of the biggest disappointments is that it's not coming out till 2022, right? So we still have quite a ways away until the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. It does seem like an interesting concept that the Justice League has maybe been taken over by Brainiac. I think the title is probably a bit of a misnomer. I don't think we're going to kill the Justice League. It is set in the Batman Arkham universe. It takes place after the events of Batman Arkham Knight, so that's interesting. What I am excited about for that game is that it takes place in Metropolis. And so they talked about how they wanted to make Metropolis as much a character of the Suicide Squad game as Gotham was of the Arkham games. The surprise DC Comics panel was actually the reveal that Milestone Comics is coming back. And so you featured some of the original creative team, like Dennis Cowan, Reggie Hudlin. I know he wasn't one of the original members of the Milestone imprint, but DC's African-American focused superhero imprint featuring characters like Hardware and Icon and Rocket and Static Shock, right, was announced as returning in early 2021. I do believe that a preview comic will be released later on in September, when the originally slated other pieces of DC Fandome will drop, featuring more comics announcements, featuring more content It was originally all supposed to happen simultaneously. Now, instead, they had the Hall of Heroes, and everything else has been moved to September 12th. And I believe we're actually going to get a preview of the Milestone comic during that event. So I'm looking forward to that event. And as a fan of Milestone and characters like Hardware and Icon, I'm really looking forward to the return of Milestone. Of course, the panel I was looking most forward to was the Snyder Cut panel. Now, the trailer leaked earlier in the day, and I'm not going to lie, I watched the leaked trailer, but then I watched it again when it was aired. The panel itself, the Scott Snyder interacting with the cast of the Justice League and with fans, it went on a little long. You didn't really get much out of it, but the trailer was amazing. I'm a big fan of Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel. Justice League, I didn't love the movie. I found some positive aspects to it, but I've been very much looking forward to this Snyder Cut, and the trailer just blew me away. Great choice of music, and looking at the trailer, it looks like an entirely different movie. Most of that trailer wasn't actually even in the movie, and what was certainly has been altered. So characters were in scenes that were removed or added in the original version. So the scenes are different even from what we saw. The coloring, the cinematography. The only thing I'm not a fan of is that the film was kind of filmed in more of an IMAX ratio, so like a square ratio rather than a cinematic ratio, which I'm not a fan of, I gotta say, but I don't care. It's the Snyder Cut. It's finally happening. Who knew that it would actually happen? It's going to be released as 4 one-hour episodes on HBO Max in 2021, and I will 100% be there. Now, a nice pleasant surprise was the Black Adam panel. I knew they hadn't been filming yet. I knew it was in pre-production, but what they did is they had kind of a motion comic narrated by The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, drawn by Boss Logic and Jim Lee, showed some concept art, some reveals of some characters like the JSA, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, Cyclone, Hawkman. They didn't reveal who was cast as most of these characters other than Atom Smasher. But I will say the panel was way more fun and interesting than I expected it to be. And the fact that the JSA will finally be seen on the big screen. I know that we've already seen some of them in the Stargirl TV show on the CW. I'm super, super excited about it. I'm a huge Rock fan. Always really enjoyed his presence on the screen, whether the movie's good or not. And I know the Black Adam has been a long time coming as a cinematic motion picture. And so the fact that it's finally coming, it's got a story, it's got the JSA in it, and they had a really well-produced panel for it. I think they did a really good job with the Black Adam panel. Now, Black Adam's nemesis, Shazam, is coming back for a second movie. Shazam Fury of the Gods was revealed with a very cute panel featuring some of the cast and Sinbad, who may or may not be in the sequel. The first Shazam was a cute film. I couldn't say I loved it, but it had some redeeming qualities. It was cute. I like Zachary Levi, and hopefully Shazam Fury of the Gods will be a good film. But obviously nothing's been filmed yet. Still a ways out, but we'll see. And the final panel of the night was the Batman, the reveal of Matt Reeves' The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson as Batman. And so, I will say the panel itself went on a little long. I thought the Q&A with Matt Reeves was a bit painful and a bit repetitive. It went on for a good 20 minutes, and it probably could have been about half that. But as a film that I was not looking forward to, because I'm not a Robert Pattinson fan, and as much as I like Matt Reeves, I liked Ben Affleck as Batman. And so the fact that they were undoing all of that in favor of this new movie, I wasn't really loving that idea. But the trailer was fantastic. For a film that they've only filmed about 25-30% of, they were able to piece together a trailer that was a great tease. We got to see some Batman action. We got to see some Commissioner Gordon. We got to see some Catwoman. We got to see most of the main cast, and it got the feel right. The acting seemed good. The Batman costume looks great on screen, and that fight sequence that they showed was just spot on. So for a film I didn't have a lot of hope for. Of course I was going to see it. It's Batman. That panel and that teaser trailer turned me around, and now I'm very much excited to see more of the Batman. So that's what we enjoyed about DC Fandome, and we are very much looking forward to the second part on September 12th. What did you guys think about DC Fandome? Were you able to watch it? Did you enjoy it? What was your favorite announcement of the event? Leave us a comment down below. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons and the little notification icon so that you know when we're showing another video. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.